of PDR Tool Time, your industry podcast, tools, reviews, and stories. Welcome to another episode of PDR Tool Time. This is episode 157, and this is Daniel Grom with our host, Vince D'Alessandro and John Renstrom. And today, this show is brought to you by CBD Direct, Magnatech Mat, Hog Glue and Hog Tabs, and Mobile Tech RX. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. How are you, John?
Doing great.
You guys,
I hate computers. I want to hit a car with a hammer. That's what I want to do.
That's why, I talked to you earlier today about your wife. She was your R&I tech, and man, both of you guys are out of working on cars right now. I would think that you guys are a little bit bored. It's like, oh my God, I have to sit in the same chair and look at a TV screen. I'd rather be looking at Dents and R&I stuff.
We've been doing so much stuff around our house. It's been crazy. We've been busy. So, no, we're probably going to feel it about the end of February when we normally hit the road. But man, I've been learning so much. For those of you that were waiting for tutorial videos, I'm slowly getting them knocked out and put on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And
are they out?
I'm releasing them. Yeah, every day I'm adding another, or I'm trying to get on a day, but it didn't work today.
I didn't know that. You didn't tell me.
Yeah, I've been slowly getting the tutorial videos put out.
No, good.
But
good.
We're here to talk about retail shops.
Yes.
And
who do we have? Who do we have?
The perfect guest for that, Mr. Matt Moore.
Mr. Matt Moore.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Matt.
And I do want to say, John, those tutorial videos are fantastic. I've made all my texts. My shop manager has been watching them as they come out. I pop him on. He's got his headphones in, and we've got to figure out how to watch them when they're not live, because he keeps watching them. A customer will come in, and then he comes back and says, "What I miss? What I miss?" So gotta get him the link.
We're doing all of the webinars. I'm doing the weekly webinars, and I'm tying those now into Facebook Live because I didn't screw it up. Mm-hmm. I actually had to call between Mike Toledo and John Hiley. I had to learn. They had to teach me how to do that deal. But I've learned how to do it. Next week, we'll do some more. I'm getting the videos out, and yeah, I'm learning how to do that. And that learning curve is steep. Did you know you can't hit a computer with a hammer and get good results?
Oh, who would have thunk it?
Are you using the right hammer? You should use the Architect Jeweler hammer,
Craftsman hammer,
or the Craftsman hammer, but not the not the sledge. The sledge is no good.
It's fun. It's challenging. The end results are kind of rewarding. I like the interaction, especially with the webinars, but man, I'm looking forward to getting onto my hail cars.
That's good.
I'd like to say I'm finally getting used to the new format with mobile tech, and I'm getting faster and better at it, and I'm learning a little of the little secret little things about it.
I'm still waiting for the Android version to come out for my phone, but I'm using it heavily on my iPad. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, we love it. The new features are, they're awesome. I know that there's always hiccups with any kind of change, but after that little webinar that you did, the first one, we've loved it. I didn't know half the stuff that you were introduced to. The NADA pricing was incredible. We use that today. We have a 1995 Jaguar XJ with hail or tree branch damage, and we wanted to had a 15-inch dent on the roof, and we wanted to maximize it without totaling it. And so we looked up the NADA, and it really helped. And it was accurate with what we just need to look up what the percentage that the insurance was willing to pay, and we were good to go.
Explain to people what NADA is.
So it's the actual value of the car. I don't actually know what NADA stands for.
NADA stands for North American Dealers Association.
There you go. So it's I'm assuming it's a compilation of all the information from Black Book and what auction, actual retail and wholesale prices of cars are. So it's what insurance bases your value of your car on. So if it's going to be totaled, in my state, typically it's 75%, depending on the car, and they can actually go as much as 100%, but most of the time, 70 to 75% is what the adjuster has the freedom to go to. So I knew that this was an $8,500 car, so my estimate needed to fall somewhere around $6,000 or so for it to not total.
Awesome.
Now, what I've learned with certain insurance companies, if it's close, it's under, they'll still push for it to be totaled.
Yeah,
because they don't want their numbers to be bad.
Well, and then you have to take into effect salvage value too. So certain cars, there was a brand new, I don't even remember what it was, but it was something brand new Hyundai that they just didn't have enough of on the market. So the salvage value of it was so high that it pushed it to total when it really shouldn't have been totaled, but it got pushed because they basically could sell the engine and they could get almost full retail back out of it with parts.
Yep. Yeah. Chevy Malibus were that way. When the Malibu first came back on the market, it was such a hot car that in some areas they totaled it as cheap as 40% of book value because salvage value was so high on those cars.
Wow.
It's insane.
Well, hey, before we get too deep in it, let's back up a little bit because we've never had Matt on the show before. We've known Matt for quite a number of years now. We've met you at Mobile Tech RX. We've hung out with you. We've shared great stories.
The Mobile Tech Expo.
I'm sorry, Mobile Tech Expo. I'm only halfway through my bourbon right now. I'm already stumbling on my words. But yeah, so Matt, you have been a PDR guy for how many years was it?
13 years now.
13 years. And I remember like a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were having some conversations about opening up a shop. Mm-hmm. And you know, back and forth and the big jump and the big leap, and you finally did it. You opened up your shop in Georgia. Whereabouts in Georgia?
This is in Athens, Georgia. It's a college town where the University of Georgia is, about an hour outside of Atlanta.
Home of REM.
Home of REM, B-52s, Widespread Panic. We've got a lot of music here. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
B-52s, that's my band.
That's yours.
That's my jam. That's my jam.
I called you, Vince. I called Daniel. I had a lot of good conversations with people that I respected that had shops and got a lot of good information. And it's scary stuff, man.
Any regrets?
No, not for me. No, not at all. I've got a lot of learning to do and a lot of growing to do, but it's been a great year.
So basically what we wanted to bring you on is to, help other guys make this decision, whether they should or shouldn't. What brought you to this decision to do it?
So I have a background in sales that I came from the car sales industry and some other sales businesses before I got into PDR. That's kind of was my bridge into the dent repair industry. And I always like the idea of owning a business, not just creating a job for myself. And there's a lot of obviously benefits to that. There's a lot of drawbacks to that too. But with the shop, that was the most clear-cut example of a way to do that. Now, obviously, I know there's guys that have employees that are 100% mobile and they own a business that is 100% mobile. You can obviously do tool development and still do your business, but most guys have tools in a truck and some skills and basically have a job, but it's not they don't own a business. They own a name and but they can't sell that. There's nobody wants to buy their route unless they're another dent guy. And so the value's limited.
So what you're saying is you're thinking about the end game or your exit strategy with that?
Yeah, I to be honest, I know 13 years is not an enormous amount of time, but I was, at the time I was doing it, I felt like I was had peaked on what I could do on my own. And I was a little bored and I wanted to challenge myself for the new kind of experience. And I have we say it around the shop a lot. If you're treading water, you're sinking, you're drowning. So we wanted to always be challenging ourselves to do the next thing. And I had a couple of really good years in a row, best years I'd ever had, kind of back to back. And was at an opportunity where I could take some risks, and the shop I'd had an eye on this specific location for about a year and said if it ever became available, I'm going to try to make a move on it. And when it became available, it literally happened to be that we had just finished up a hailstorm and I had some cash and said, well, it's Providence and it's time, and so let's make a move.
So, okay, let's talk about your location.
Yep.
Why was this location important to you?
So it's on in our city. This is the main thoroughfare. It's the main road where all the dealerships are located. So I've got Chevy across the street, Ford next door to them, Mercedes down the road, Dodge next door to me. There's 8 dealerships within a half a mile of my location.
Oh, wow.
And there's
That's
within
traffic.
There's and in our town, it's not an enormous town, but we've got I think 37,000 or 40,000 cars a day that come by right in front of my shop, and it's the busiest road in our town. And so for me, it was always, and this is one of the points. If someone was ever asking, I've got a lot of kind of thoughts. If someone was ever asking, what would it look like for me to go into a shop on my own and those kind of things. But one of the things I would recommend highly, and I think Daniel, you were the one that actually gave me this advice, was if you're going to do it the way that you want to do it. Don't ever settle for something that I don't want to fail 2 years from now and look back and say, well, it would have only worked if I'd gone to the main location, if I'd spent $500 more in rent, or if I'd spent this market. So as I said, if I can't do it all in, I'm not going to do it at all. And so,
right. When I first started off, I had 2 different locations that were off the beaten path, and I had to spend a lot of money on advertising to get people to come into my business.
Yeah.
The location I have now, I probably did about 2 years of advertising. After that 2 years, today I do 0. I don't even do Google advertising. I don't have to do anything. And it's because of my location. It's what they say all the time. I'm right next to a mall. I'm across the street from the freeway. If I want to advertise, I go buy a banner and throw it up on my building. It's that good of a location. So you have to look at your location as part of your advertising budget. Yeah, you might pay $500 or more a month for that location, but what are you going to pay in advertising if you're not at that location? Yeah. So you got to really weigh those options and take that in consideration.
One of the other things that drew me to this location is it's next door to a couple of fast food restaurants, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but I convince customers all the time that just walked in for an estimate, hey, why don't you walk next door and grab a sandwich? We got a Subway that's literally connected to our building. I say, why don't you go grab a sandwich? When you're done with the sandwich, I'll be halfway done with the repair, if not done by then. So literally they're like, we're really that fast? And I said,
perfect.
Try to make it as convenient as possible.
And Bojangles is just right close.
That's exactly right. If it's breakfast, they go to Bojangles. If it's lunch, they go to Subway.
What's a Bojangles?
It's
chicken and biscuits.
Chicken and biscuits. Southern.
What's chicken and biscuits?
So Matt. I'm on your website, and I gotta commend you on your website here. This is the number one thing that annoys the hell out of me of PDR companies, especially with retail shops. Address. Where the hell are you? Yep. Why can't I find you easily? Matt's on your website. Not only do you have a big ass map, your address is everywhere on your website. It follows you all around.
Yeah.
They can find you. Even if they don't know where you're at, for sure, they can find you.
That drives me crazy about PDR guys' websites. Even if you're not in a shop, just have what is the point of your website? If it's to call you, have your phone number literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
Big, annoying, they call it the BFB, the big effing button. Just have a big phone number right at the top that just tells you, for me, it's a address. I want people in my door. That's the whole goal of having a website. Yeah. That's the back of my business cards have a map to my shop on them. Literally.
Yeah. I like that. And looking at the business, Matco Collision Center is behind you.
Yep.
Yeah. You look like you're right on the Atlanta highway. Yep.
Now
Awesome.
this is one of the things that I think is really important with the retail location, and which gets you more money per job. You have like the Mike Toledo's that he has everything automated. He does online estimating. And I think that costs them in the long run, to be honest with you. I try to get everybody in the door to do an estimating in person because I want them to be impressed by the shop, impressed by our clean bathroom, that there's no boogers on the wall. and I get compliments from women every day for our clean bathrooms. But getting them in front of us allows me to do the Mobile Tech RX, give them a professional estimate. I get more money per job based off those criteria. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. Yeah. When I opened my shop, I was really intentional about just the decor. I know that most people, especially women, they go into a auto industry if it's a oil change place or a body shop. They're kind of just turned off by it. They're scared of where they're at. They think they're going to be taken advantage of. Whatever. I basically asked my wife. I said, "This is your budget. I want you to decorate the waiting room. It can't be feminine, but I want it to be comfortable." I said, "You make it. This is what the colors I kind of want." And so we get compliments, especially from our female customers, almost every day. They come in and they say, "Is this a franchise?" And they kind of look around and they're blown away that it's just a one operation shop, because it's very clean. It's very simple, but it's inviting. We have a big, huge window that looks into our shop. So while we're working, we're not hiding anything. They can see everything that's going on straight in our shop.
That's the biggest compliment when women say that.
Yeah.
Because they're 60% of your business.
I'm right there with you, Matt. I had my wife go, and I said, go and just furnish this whole thing and make it look good. And it's funny because I get compliments, like you said, Daniel. I have women come out, "Your bathroom is so clean." I've never been to a mechanic shop that has such a clean office and bathroom. Well, we're not like a normal mechanic shop. We're not dealing with grease and oil and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, there's no reason
still,
not
even
to.
if you are, there's no reason not to clean it.
No,
Man, I've been in shops where I threatened the owner that I was going to go get a steam cleaner and pressure wash his bathroom if they didn't do something. There's absolutely no reason to live in filth.
Come on, auto body shops have the worst bathrooms. If you go in the back room, the back room.
Yeah,
Body
the
guys.
employee's bathroom. Yeah,
We actually added about 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago. I added and I now have a cleaner that comes in twice a month and cleans my entire shop, because we were doing the best we could, but I could sell every time we cleaned it, it was going down 5% from what it was 2 weeks ago. But every time it was just, we were never going to get back up to it. And I said, "Look, I'm just going to write a check, pay you do whatever it takes." And she comes in, and I don't even know if she's here. She has the key to the shop. I come in, and it's like, "Oh man, it's clean. I can see through my window," and it's great.
Yeah. Honestly, that is a huge thing for those of you even considering a retail location. Do listen to these three gentlemen discussing how clean they keep it, because it does make a tremendous difference in today's world.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I was talking to you, Matt, before you opened it, I'm thinking, oh, he's probably going to do it on a budget and take it easy, not invest too much at first, and do this little by little, because that's kind of what I did. I joined in with a detailer and shared the expenses. Man, you went all in immediately with everything and the design, and I mean, I was impressed. I was jealous. I'm like, man, his shop looks great right off of the bat. Where I was kind of more of a piecemeal type of thing over the course of 3, 4, 5 months. Putting it all together.
I'm a big solutions to small problems kind of guy, so I just throw it all in there. So.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How long of a lease did you sign?
3 years.
Okay.
And I did that not intentionally. There was some negotiating room, but I wanted less. I negotiated a lower lease cash amount, but was willing to do a 3-year with a 3-year option at the end, so I could stay here 6 years with my current lease without it changing. But the goal would be that if the opportunity became available to purchase something, that in 3 to 5 years I would know what I want and how big a shop I want. I'd know more about what I'm looking for.
Okay, let me ask you this: do you think that was too conservative?
Yeah, I don't know. They put 5 on the table, and I said, "Well, could we do 3 with an option?" And they said yes. And the honest truth, it was my first one, so we were winging some of it based on just experience. Part of you is timid in the back.
You're scared. You're scared.
Yeah. I mean, if I sign a 5-year lease or a 10-year lease, and what happens if this goes bottom up in 12 months, 18 months, or whatever? So,
okay. Can I ask you how much let's use very general numbers. What was your initial investment?
To open the shop, $40,000, somewhere in that range.
How much?
$40,000.
$40,000.
Yeah.
I will say,
probably just a complete rough estimate, but somewhere in that range.
I'm looking at the photo of your waiting room. It does look pimp. I know where you spent the money.
Waiting room and signs, man. Signs are expensive.
So I'm going to tell guys a 5-year lease is too little.
Wow.
Honestly, 5 years goes by so quick.
Yeah.
And if you're going to invest that much money, you're going to want to, because the reason I say that is because I have another friend of mine. I won't mention his name, but he did the same thing. And he was friends with the owner of the building, but he passed away, and it transferred ownership to the kids. Kids want him out now, and he spent that $40,000, and he's like, "Oh,
yeah,
should have went a longer lease."
He spent $40,000 remodeling the whole place and looking like the biggest pimp PDR shop ever, and now he has to leave. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So, think about those things. I know it's scary, but literally 5 years it will go by fast.
I've already been in my shop. This May will be 4 years, and I mean it was a blink. 4 years gone.
Yeah.
This shop is not going to have the option to purchase, and that was a conversation we had up front. I don't foresee that ever being the case the way it's laid out. The other location, the other businesses that are attached to it, I just don't foresee them selling it anytime in the near future. So one of the reasons was that I was hoping that in 5 to 10 years or 5 to 6 years I would know if I wanted to purchase something and then potentially have that as an investment as well.
Now that's great, and what I want to tell everybody, it's a lot easier than you guys think to buy a commercial building, other than the 20% down.
Yeah,
that's the big stumbling block, and if you can manage that, it goes really off your P&L, off your business. So if you go to like an SBA loan, they came back to me the next day and said you're approved, and I'm like, wow. Holy moly! I was
Daniel. You own your building, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Vince.
No, I rent.
You rent.
I do.
And
rent.
Matt, you're leasing. So
or leasing, yeah, at least.
Now, when I bought my building, I did a lot. I actually went to a Donald Trump seminar for real estate, and it was the best thing I ever did. I actually met Donald, and I actually snuck backstage and met Donald Trump. And but I went to that seminar and I learned about a SBA loan called the 701A, and the 701A, if they still have it, rebates you back 50% of your down payment. So you actually only have to come out with 10% of your down payment.
No, I don't want to interrupt you, but SBA is a small business association?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a small, and you have to find the banks that are SBA approved. But so I had to do a short-term borrow for 10%. Once I closed, I got to pay that person back for that 10%. So I really only had to come up with 10% of that down payment.
Wow.
The only problem that I found, like I went to the SBA seminars and stuff like that, it's a commitment working with them because you have to literally come up with a business plan, right?
Yeah.
You have to show them exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to make money and this and that. And you have to pretty much present a booklet to them of your whole case study on your business and what you're doing, right?
You're right about that. And I did do that, but it's a great exercise for your own peace of mind. Sure. Coming up with a business plan, and I just downloaded some software on how to write a business plan. Okay. And it asked hard questions that I had to really look at my business and answer those questions. And it was a great exercise. It's something that I encourage everybody to do because you're going to learn about your business and find out things that you might not ask yourself if you didn't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to look up that SBA and all of their stuff. Now, Matt, you went a total different route. You went out and beat out a whole crap load of hail cars and just plunked down cash.
Yeah, and that was based on. I've tried not to do loans throughout the business. I mean, obviously in the PDR world, you don't have to take out loans typically. I mean, maybe. Yeah. You know, if you're buying tools or something like that, when you get
or you're building,
you borrow it from mom or something, but a building, you know, so, but for the most part, everything in my business has been liquid, you know, from as much as we could, vehicles and everything else. Part of that's just my business practice. I know if we bought a building, we would have to take out a loan. But you know, part of it was never wanting to put my family in a position where my business was risking, you know, family thing, you know, if something were to happen that was out of my control, what would that look like at home and, you know, whatever. So
Yeah. Well, Daniel's kind of a rare breed. Not many PDR companies step up to own their own property too.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty rare.
Yeah, that's our goal of ours. I mean, that's something that just from the long term, we would like to own the properties that we're in, and so yeah, that's definitely something that I think is going to be in our future. But we'll see.
Yeah, and I think I would have to say that you'd have to be a seasoned tech to be doing this. You don't want to be a newbie or new technician, year or 2, 3, 4, 5 years out of the gun, trying to even consider doing something like this, because there are a lot of risks involved.
I think you would have a hard time, even if you're a 20-year tech and you're a hail tech, you'd have a hard time making this transition. No. I think this needs to be. I mean, the guys that are bred for this are basically guys that are either my estimation was 75 plus to 80% retail business. Like, you're making money doing only retail work. Well, you are willing to make the investment.
The thing when you brought that up about just going from hail into a retail aspect, hail guys have a tendency to live large.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have a retail shop, you need to save large.
Yeah.
The feast and famine takes on a whole new meaning when you have a retail shop and a permanent shop location. You can't close up for 2 months and go make some extra hail money. The customers you have that rely upon you, your dealers, everybody that's used to you being there, you can't step away from that. So
employees too.
Yeah, and you have what, 2 employees?
2 full time. Yeah, my wife's actually about to come on board as a part time as well. So
yeah, I mean that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, and you can't rely on hail money. You cannot rely on hail money. I remember quite a number of years ago, Dan Ottrop from PDR Contractors. I think it was maybe his 2nd or 3rd year out of PDR school with Mike Toledo, and he immediately went and hit the hail trail, and he had an enormous year, and he was sitting there bragging about how awesome of a year and how much money he made doing hail. And I'm like, dude, save your money, because half of these hail technicians in this bar right now at the Caribe Royale are going to be piss poor within a few months after making a ton of money. And he's like, okay. No, don't worry about me and this and that. And I think it was the next year afterwards, there was like a drop in attendance at MTE by about 20% because it was a terrible hail year.
Yep.
And now here we are revisiting it. We're at the bar, and I'm looking around. I'm like, hey, remember last year when I said to save your money? Because some people didn't save their money, and they're not here at Mobile Tech Expo. Did I say RX before?
No, actually, this time you've been saying Expo.
Okay, good.
All right. No, you got it right.
So,
I mean, I enjoy the plug, but
so it's smart. It's smart money because hail guys like to spend their money on Rolexes and big old trucks and big tires and stuff like that. But really, if you're thinking
put mine
about
in the bank.
Exactly, and I'm not saying it, I'm just making a general statement. Of course, there's plenty of guys out there that do save their money, but really, we're looking at the guys that are saving their money and doing smart things with their money and thinking about an end game, like you talked about earlier, Matt. And we talked about that before when you were opening up the shop. This is my end game too. I'm at my end game right now. I'm selling my retail location, and I would not get a third of the money for my business if I didn't have a retail location.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think the cash thing that you were saying, the saving, goes back. It even helps. I mean, obviously, with business, with hiring, with having the freedom to make the decisions you want to make. That's to me, anything you do, I don't want to not make a decision because I don't have the money to make the decision. If it's the right decision, if it's hiring the right person or paying them the right money, or they're going to leave because you can't pay them the right money, or when it's hail, when it comes through. This year we had hail, and we were lucky. Our first year we did have a light hailstorm that came through, but I was able to hire techs, get them in here, pay them extremely aggressively, and attract them with the way we were putting our pay plan together, because I was able to, I was basically operating, not waiting for checks to come through. I was operating on cash and my own credit and those kind of things. So that put me in a position where they would take my job over somebody else's because of that. So,
as a company, you still made money.
Oh, yeah, we did great. It was a great year.
Yeah.
But bankrolling a hailstorm, everybody's like, yeah, hail money. And they forget the guy that actually has to front that can be 60 to 90 days out on getting his checks from all those cars. So you're sitting in that position and to bankroll that and keep that secure. That's great. Hey, I'm on your website. Let me ask you, we're discussing the business aspect, saving your money. You say, additionally, we have partnerships with ride sharing services. Expand on that a little.
We will use Uber. I mean, it's not an actual partnership. We have guys that are customers of ours that are Uber that we could call and get rides if we need to.
But your local Uber riders know you guys then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we use Uber and Lyft here often. Our customers will call them. We have an Uber account that we can call for our customers if it's the right customer. We don't do that on every one, but if it's the right job or for some reason they're having to wait because of us.
If their estimate's over $500.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's they were supposed to get a ride and they didn't get a ride, it's kind of on them. But if it's one that we
now, do you do like a one-way ride?
Yeah, typically. I don't think I've ever paid for someone two ways.
That's kind of what I do. If a customer is like, I don't know if I have to think about getting a ride, and I'm like, I'll take care of it.
If it's a hail car, I'll just come tow the car from their house. They don't have to leave the house. So
yeah.
Take care of it.
Let me ask you this. So you actually made relationships with the Uber drivers, so you call them directly and like bypass the whole Uber and Lyft, right?
Yeah, I have a couple of close friends that are Uber drivers.
Oh, there you go. See, that's pretty sweet.
So we've used them for transport of vehicles and whatever.
Well, Uber drivers come in to me because they have to meet their parents' allowance or whatever with their Uber.
What do you mean?
If
their car can't be beat up.
Their car can't be beat up.
Parents.
So
we get those too. Yeah,
we have a hail car
that fixes their car
here now. So this is interesting. This is totally off subject, but Geico's making this Uber driver. They made her get a commercial account rather than our personal account, and so it's changed the whole way we're having this claim. It's a commercial claim now. We're not doing it through the normal Geico portal and everything else. So it's
is it easier?
This one is because I know the adjuster, and he came out and took pictures and was gone in 4 seconds, and basically just emailed me an estimate.
What does that mean exactly? A commercial?
So it's just like you owning your shop truck. If you have a shop truck with your names and letters, it's not your personal insurance. It's a commercial under your business name. Mm-hmm. So Geico is now saying, and I don't know if this is across the board, but Geico is now saying if you're an Uber driver and this is your form of income, this is now your business vehicle. So you have to have a business insurance liability. Huh. A hell of a lot more expensive.
The reason why I brought that up is it brings up a very good business mindset. Yeah. Partnering.
Yeah.
You have customers that might not show up because they can't get a ride. You've solved that problem for your customer by partnering with another company that's a potential customer.
Yeah. And, and I think that's the partner, especially we're in a small town, so small town mindset. It's not South Georgia, but it's the South and it's Georgia. And so a lot of that is who you know. So that's a huge part of it. We partner with all of our body shops in town. Every body shop in my town, we consider a partner. We may not use some of them on our own cars, and we may not actually recommend some of them, but we consider them a partner. And every body shop has a stack of our business cards with a map to our location on their desk at their reception desk.
Awesome.
You're basically taking any objection away from them, basically a ride or what they're going to do while their car is being repaired. If you're right next to a place they can eat or shop, that is a huge, huge advantage. I'm right next to a mall, and people are like, oh, I'll come by for lunch, I'll go shopping, and I'll come back. My car's fixed. Done.
Make life for your customers convenient.
Yeah.
We have TV, Wi-Fi, nice convenient waiting room, everything. We try to make it as clean as possible, as convenient as possible, to where we took all the nose away from it. So
yeah. I see mini fridges with water, Keurig for coffee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my wife made a little sign that said "Dents happen, coffee helps." So it's hanging up above the Keurig. So.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
I might have to steal that one.
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, there's a new thing too that we've worked on. I have a customer that has brought about their cars to us at least a half a dozen times. And some of it's for paint work and dent removal and combination repairs and small collisions, stuff like that. And there's some type of car rental service out there where you rent your own car. It's like Trulia or something like that.
It's bigger in in Atlanta. It's bigger in some of the bigger cities. It's bigger. We don't do it a ton here, or it may exist, but we haven't used it here. But I'm sure in 5 years all of us will know it and use it.
Yeah, well, it's actually worked out really well for us because they paid us directly, whatever our ticket is, and they don't even question. And I supplement on top of it. Like I have a Mercedes C-Class in right now, took the bumper off and it's smashed behind there. We're talking a body pull and stuff like that and replacement parts. They don't even question it. They just pay it.
Yeah.
So, because it costs them money with that car not on the road. Just like it was Enterprise or Hertz or Budget.
Yep.
So they want it fixed as quick as possible and back to the customer so that they could get them back on the road. So, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So let me ask you this. Now that you've been into it a year, what are like the biggest things that you've learned, the mistakes, basically? What are the biggest mistakes you made?
No regrets. No regrets, right?
No regrets. Biggest mistakes I've made. I sometimes I don't want to. We bring on in subcontractors. We do some subcontractor work. We have a wheel guy that comes in. We have a window tint guy. I've sent one of my technicians off to learn to do wheels. It's easy to get distracted because the mindset of when a customer walks in the door, you get them and you need to capture as many dollars as you can from them. And that sometimes it's the whole picking up, stepping over dollars to pick up pennies kind of thing. And I feel like most of the mistakes and a lot of the headaches I've had have been coming from subcontractor work or coming from things that is not really our bread and butter. And it's when I lose a little bit of my identity of who we are that we want to be the answer to every customer, even if we're not the answer. So when a customer walks in, even if we can't help them, we want to get them in the right direction, be a great experience to where they always remember we were friendly and helpful. And they, we look at it as a win because they got to see the inside of our shop. Sometimes I take that too far because of overhead and things like that. And I will try to land, but we can fix your wheels while you're here. And then I'll sub that out. And then I'm just opening up a can of worms to make $50 and over, in upsell. And those are the mistakes that I've made over the time. And you just have to eat those. You just have to own the mistake. And it's not even a mistake. It's just, somebody else does a job incorrectly, and then you have to own that mistake, basically.
Yeah. I've had to do the same thing. In fact, I had to make a call to a warranty company and say, hey, you know what? We're not doing wheels anymore for you. And they're like, why? Well, because it's cutting off of our profit. My guy just spent a day working on 4 wheels when he could have been doing 2 bumper blends for 3 times as much as money. Yep. And there's times where you do need to be smart and know where your money's coming from and make the right decisions.
I think that comes out of you're like wanting to offer everything, so you're a one-stop shop, and it's not always the smartest thing to do, because I did the same thing for window tinting. And unfortunately, I'm right across from the freeway, so we get the freeway dust that comes off the cars right into the shop, and it was horrible. My window tinter quit on me because he's like, I can't tint a window in here. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest mistake that we've made, is just sometimes getting distracted as an owner, sometimes not keeping your eye on what you need to be, kind of
trying to do too much.
Yeah, it's trying to do too much. I think, and they would say differently, but I think I've done a good job of entrusting my employees with seeing their skill set, giving them value and training them, and then being able to trust them to give them things. I don't think I do a bad job of that. I probably need to do a better job of pushing them and not, being an owner and letting them do things as employees. So.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Do you do less dents now?
Yes.
Do you have employees to do the dents?
Yeah. And sometimes that's a great thing, and sometimes it's not. If we have a job where I'm sitting here and we have one job, maybe we had 3 jobs here, and one comes in and it's actually smashed and paint's broken, so we don't say anything to that. And then the next one, no call, no shows. Because we have one job that shows in the door, I have to feed my techs, so they have to do the work. So I made less money on that than it would have been had it be just me with a shop. Sure. But I'm if I need to be doing, yesterday I was doing a hail car in the shop. My shop manager's estimating, and And he also is pushing some dents on another car. And then one of my techs is at a wholesale lot making money. So we're kind of all working at the same time. So there's obviously benefits at times, but you have to be able to take the risks that go with that, obviously. So.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about Georgia, but California's terrible for workman's comp, and they're not a very business-friendly state. Now, are they actually employees or are they 1099?
My guys are actual employees. Workman's comp is 3. Once it's at 3, they recommend having workman's comp, and then I think at 5 out it's required in Georgia. So okay. I'm getting right at the edge where we're going to have to start looking at that.
Now, do you pay a salary or strictly commission, or are you doing a combo?
Yeah, combo. So when I hired these technicians, I actually hired them to do a job for my company. And if they never pushed dents, I had a job for them. One was an R&I tech and one was basically a sales manager, or like an estimator for the company. And I put a price tag on each one of those and said, this is the value of this job. It's not really going to go up or down much different than that. There may be some bonuses based on numbers and things like that, but that's kind of the job is what it is. Sales manager has done above and beyond what I had asked him to do. So I did start adding some incentivized sales, and I wanted him to be closing more retail jobs to talk customers into dropping it with me rather than going to a body shop. Even if we get the job from the body shop, I'd rather not pay them, a percentage. So I put him some incentives to try to close those deals. But I've also made it very clear that those positions are always going to be worth X amount, but I will equip you to be worth more to my company. And I want you to be worth more to my company, because the more you're worth, the better it is for me. And then the other technician that I hired was an R&I technician. So I hired him part-time to come in and just take cars apart, buff cars, do headlight restoration, when I'd be done with one, I'd say, all right, wet sand and buff this, or buff, get the scratch off or whatever, put this back together. And he's a young guy and he's done well, and he's been pushing pretty much straight for about a year now and doing fantastic. So, nice. So now he's pushing, and then the shop manager had kind of paused pushing because of the hailstorm we had. He's back to pushing more and doing more in the shop, kind of back end stuff. We're in about another 6 months. I think they'll both be pretty much operating at full potential. So
that's great.
One of the biggest things I've found with having a shop is how many cars can you do a day? Mm-hmm. Either that or a specific dollar amount. Mm-hmm. But if you can schedule a certain amount of cars per day, is the money's going to be there. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's eight cars a day. If I can actually do 8 cars a day, I'm going to make killer money.
I can't do 8 cars a day.
Well, yeah, it has to be a combination. So if you had 4 door dings, you could do that in a day.
Sure. Yeah.
Easily, right?
An hour.
And then 4 average dents, softball size.
I wish I had average dents and door dings. They're so few and far between. I price myself out of them. When you got guys out there doing for $50, it's really tough. I'm the Smash King. If you go on Yelp, you'll see, oh, no one else could do it but Vince. It sucks.
Well, that's where the dollar amount comes in. That's where that dollar amount comes in.
I go by dollar amount.
Yeah. If you can hit that dollar amount with 1 dent, fantastic.
Yeah.
Hit that dollar amount.
That's my goal, is a dollar amount. But but listen, Matt, I'm super proud of you, man. I'm so happy that you're doing great and successful. I knew you would. From the start. You got the right mentality and everything. And,
thank you very much. Yeah. But go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
What advice would you give to guys that are thinking about this?
Take it very seriously. It's not for the faint of heart. I think that being in this screen right here in this podcast, 3 of the 4 people have shops and are making money. We're successful, at this point, successful with a retail shop. If you're thinking about doing it, though, you need to seriously ask yourself how committed you are to that. What's your threshold? How much are you willing to risk? And do you really want to be an owner? I mean, that's the thing that I think most guys don't. And this is not to discourage anyone, but if you really want to be an owner, there's a lot of headaches. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of all the, I don't know what I can say on this, but bullshit that goes with being an owner that you don't even know about or think about if you're not
absolutely
just a technician. And I could have hours and hours of conversations about that, and it's great. It's fantastic. About 90% of the time, and at least 2 days a month, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell did I do? why am I doing this? And why is it, I wish I could just take that truck and go run some routes and get out of here. And I mean, I've created a job where I'm now an employee of my own business. And that's something that a lot of guys I don't think, if you don't have the right mindset, you can't do that. That's a hard thing to do, to take yourself and take the pride out of it. But I've created a job where I'm truly an employee, a salaried employee of my own company that's expected to show up to work and do jobs. I report to different people when I'm doing things. My shop manager checks on my own quality. He QCs my own work before it gets delivered. He asks me, ask hard questions, and I've put all these checks and balances. And the goal being that I'm a cog in a machine, that I can remove myself and put somebody else in that place eventually. That's the goal.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's a real hard thing to do, and that's something that a lot of guys, just ego gets in the way of that, and or maybe they don't have the cash to do what you're, to be able to withstand it. So that's the advice: is save up. If you want to do this, save up a ton of money and be ready to weather whatever that looks like. And then open the shop you want to open. Don't settle. Don't do. In my opinion, I'd lose sleep if I felt like I lost my business because I didn't do blank. Because I didn't. If I'd only done this, it would have been successful. So that's why, Vince, you said that it was kind of all in, but that was I wasn't going to do it if I couldn't be all in on it. So.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a good point. You said something, that you are an employee of Easy Dent. I am an employee of Dent's No More. I show up the days of, doing the route or doing a few retail jobs and being home on the couch by 2:00. Those are long gone.
They don't exist. Yeah.
So, be ready for that. And it is rewarding. It's very rewarding. But on the other side, the 10%, it is taxing. There's times where you're getting called at 9:00 at night, and it's like, I'm not answering that. Quitting time was 4:30, for crying out loud.
I'm in my office now because I came up here. I went home after work, grabbed. It's right now it's 9:30 or 10:00, 9:30 here, and I went home, grabbed a bite to eat with my family, and came back out. I got to finish a hail car tonight. So I'm an employee. I'm doing some supplement. It's just as an owner, you just got to work, and sometimes there's just not enough time in the day to do both the employee and the owner role, and you got to be willing to just put in the hours.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. Well, Matt, we want to thank you for coming on here. I know it's already been 50 minutes, and it seems like that. It's a click when we're on the show and amongst friends and talking good stuff. So we want to thank you for coming on. Daniel,
I really appreciate you guys, and appreciate what y'all mean to the industry. I wouldn't have this shop if it hadn't been for conversation with you guys. So I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That brings up a good point. I'm available. Vince is available. John's available. Give us a call.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about this, we're more than willing to help you out. Just reach out, private message us.
Call Matt too.
Absolutely.
Matt,
100%.
Yeah,
Matt, absolutely.
I've always enjoyed the conversations that we've had. We talk a lot, mostly at MTE, and I've always enjoyed it.
Thank you, John.
It's been great.
Yeah, we'll talk more.
That brings us to the end of this episode. And guys, just remember, it is important to level up your tools.
And keep it stiff.
Don't do stupid stuff.
This has been another episode of PDR Tool Time.